Welcome, everyone. I'm David Bauders, CEO of Trade Hounds. I'm joined today by Bob DeStefano. Bob is the CEO of SVM eMarketing. Welcome, Bob.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about SVM and what you do.
Sure. SVM eMarketing Solutions, we're a B2B digital marketing agency, and we focus working specifically with industrial and construction supply companies, distributors and manufacturers. And essentially what we do is we serve as their virtual marketing department, handling all things marketing, but with a very strong focus on eMarketing.
Okay. And is it primarily for manufacturers, for distributors, equally balanced?
I would say that it's probably weighted more towards distributors
Okay.
In our customer base, but we serve both manufacturers and distributors.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
Been doing it for 30 years.
30 years,
Yep.
Okay. It's interesting. How has it changed over the years? Because obviously e-marketing is, pretty much, the last 20 years, I would say, it's been a thing.
Yeah, it was interesting because I got my start back in the early 90s when I worked for Dean Witter Discovery Company in New York City, and I was a strategic planner. And our role was to plot the future direction of the firm, what product areas should we get involved with, what company should we merge with, and then the internet popped up. And that was my project. The chairman came down and said, Bob, figure out what this internet thing is and what we should be doing as a firm. And as a result of that, I ended up creating a committee that launched the first Discover Card website. So after that, I decided to form my agency.
So in terms of distributors, what are the things they need to know about e-marketing today?
Yeah, the interesting thing working with distributors is that marketing is generally an afterthought. They primarily relied on face-to-face sales as the primary driver of business growth for decades. And the internet was sort of a nice-to-have thing. And I think that it's becoming more and more important. And COVID kind of put gasoline on the fire just because everybody needed to go online for everything. So I think that distributors, the biggest challenge they have first is understanding what's possible and what's not. A lot of times they'll run into digital marketing chasing the shiny objects. We need better search position. We need to do some email marketing, but there's no firm, cohesive strategy in place. So I think that it's educating them on what's possible, helping them put together a solid plan towards achieving the results they're looking to achieve, and then just leveraging the tools of e-marketing to get there.
Yeah, so our parent company, Sparks IQ, the owner of Trade Hounds, we have very deep relationships with distributors and manufacturers. And I think for a lot of distributors, e-commerce is what I call the trail of tears for them. They keep investing money into e-commerce, expecting incredible outcomes. And year after year, for most of them, they're stuck in the single-digit percentage type of revenue. And what do you think the number one thing they need to understand about that trail of tears?
Yeah, I would say that what they need to understand is that B2B e-commerce is very different from B2C e-commerce. With B2C e-commerce, basically everything occurs on the website, from the shopping for a product, trying to figure out what you're looking for, and then the actual transaction of purchasing. And with B2B e-commerce, it's very different because only a small percentage, I would say probably around a third, maybe a little bit less than that, would actually go through the full shopping cart process and place an order. The other 2/3, they still want to do business with their salesperson. They want to visit a branch location, pick up the phone and call. So while they need an e-commerce storefront and while they need digital marketing, the actual transaction may occur offline. So when they're looking at the revenue and the ROI from e-commerce, if they're only looking at the shopping cart, they're missing the big picture.
Yeah, we call those situations the ambiguous, new, complex, or risky. Anytime you have one or more of those attributes, people won't actually click order until they have a conversation.
Yep.
So I guess an important question for distributors, how much of their revenue has that trait of what we call anchor, ambiguous, new, complex, or risky.
Yeah, exactly.
If they can start to understand that, they can understand, where is the real value of transactions versus conversations.
Exactly. And one of the big things that we do with them when we're trying to figure out how we can put the proper reporting in place is helping them track web-assisted sales. So even though the transaction may have occurred offline through a salesperson or someone picked up the phone and called, how can we track that back to the web visit, the website visit, the e-commerce site, the search that they perform, whatever that would be, so that they can really measure the return on investment.
Now, one of the Sparks IQ companies is material management. So we actually have a large number, hundreds of commercial contractors who buy through the platform. It's a marketplace for contractors to buy from distributors. What our contractor customers tell us is they don't want to navigate 5 or 10 different e-commerce adventures, as they call it. With these distributors, they really want to be able to go to a single marketplace and find, the products they need from the suppliers who have them. And in a lot of cases, they need to multi-source because there is no one-stop shop for everything they want to buy. Can you talk about the role of marketplaces and the e-commerce strategy of your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up an excellent point about it. It really needs to be customer-focused and customer-centric. If the customer doesn't want to have to bounce around to different sites in order to procure the products they're looking for. They want convenience. They want ease of use. A lot of the people here at staff, their customers are on a job site at the time where they need to actually place those orders. So marketplaces have a big role in their business strategy. So I think that what they need to do is really understand that they need to go where the customers are, provide that convenience, make sure that they're providing a differentiation. So why should people buy from you versus others, and make it part of your overall e-commerce strategy.
And in our platforms, one of the things we do is to really showcase the value of the different distributors. So for instance, showing in-stock availability is job one. Where is the location of the product? How close is it to the point of need? What is the service quality of the distributor? And typically we hear from our contractor customers that unless it's a competitive bids and quote situation, price is only the fourth factor.
Yep.
So it really raises the question of, are distributors really positioning themselves to win in marketplaces? Or are they still kind of just, reactively dealing with them as their customers present it to them? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah. I think that you described it very well, is that they're going onto these marketplaces without a clear strategy of how they can differentiate themselves. And I try to tell them there's a reason why people do business with you anywhere. And it's not just because you have the right product at the right price. You have specialized knowledge. You have application knowledge. You're sharing that knowledge with your customers on a daily basis. How can you integrate that to every aspect of your marketing, every aspect of your merchandising, so that you can convey that differentiation through everything and provide the real reason why people should do business with you?
Yeah, and we've really seen that for contractors in particular, that offering a single navigation pathway in the marketplace, for them, that is the ultimate convenience, and our ability to project where is product available across different suppliers so they can really choose based on value, not price.
Exactly.
Is making a big difference. And I think what it means for the distributors really is they need to focus on how to compete within the platform, not whether to be on the platform.
Correct.
Yeah. When you think about STAFTA, what are the unique challenges of STAFTA members, whether it's manufacturers first and then distributors when it comes to e-commerce?
Yeah, I would say that for distributors, a lot of times they view it primarily and in some cases only as a technology project. And they look to their ERP vendor that they have an e-commerce module they can work with, and then they launch an e-commerce storefront there without thinking about the customer. Are we providing an added convenience for the customer to do business with us through this e-commerce storefront? Are we using it as a vehicle to acquire new customers? Are we trying to get our existing customer base on the e-commerce platform so that they can buy a wider variety of products or purchase more frequently? And probably one of the biggest challenges they have is their sales team, in many cases, will view the e-commerce storefront as a competitor to their
commissions perspective.
Exactly. And I try to explain that if you have a catalog that your salespeople go out with, the salespeople aren't competing with the catalog. It's a tool that they use. The e-commerce storefront should be viewed the same way, and the salesperson, if they can get people to place orders online, great. They still should get credit.
Absolutely.
For that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting now is social.
Yep.
And we know that there's a demographic shift going on with our customers, with our sellers, with the manufacturers. I mean, it's just a broad demographic shift. So with the Trade Hounds community, for example, about 70% are under the age of 30. And we know from our community that people want to connect very differently from the old days. It's a lot less of the backslapping, donut runs, all of that sort of thing. It's much more about authentic connections,
Yes.
more peer-to-peer, less about, corporate types of relationships. So what do you think that most manufacturers should know about this demographic shift and what the implications are for their marketing strategy?
Yeah, it's that they really need to figure out how this other group, this new group, wants to communicate and be in front of them in those venues. And social media is a huge part of it. A lot of people think of it as just a way of communicating with friends and family, but a lot of times product research occurs on social media. People are looking for the opinions of their peers on certain products, and even with B2B products. So I think it's really thinking about these different demographic groups. How do they consume information? Where do they go to get it? And make sure that you're presenting the right information in the right places.
Yeah, one of the things we have going at Trade Hounds, we have a lot of the big influencers on the platform. So we have several of these folks, typically under the age of 35, let's say, and they may have 1 million followers on TikTok or YouTube or these different platforms. And I think what's fascinating is the way that people connect with them and the way that they can influence. People say, okay, they shouldn't make all of this money, with influence, but influence is just another way of saying selling.
Exactly.
And I think at the end of the day, companies need to embrace this channel. It's really a channel, if you think about it that way, of social selling.
Exactly. Yeah, one interesting anecdote that I can share regarding that is one of my manufacturing clients saw an uptick in sales, and they couldn't really point to why. And what they do is they manufacture a special type of taping gun for drywall. And they found out that they have a community of contractors that are using their products, and they think they're fabulous. So they are recording videos of themselves doing projects using these guns. They're trying to sell their own services, but at the same time, they're representatives of the manufacturer online, showing how great those products are. So there's a lot of ways that social media can be leveraged, even accidentally in this particular case.
Yeah, I think peer content is so important. We know that people don't want corporate content. They want authentic peer-to-peer type of content. And I think what a lot of manufacturers have struggled with is, how do I even become relevant in this space? How do I connect with the people who can build influence? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a matter of, I think they need to become active participants themselves first, and start by listening and start by observing and figure out where the white hot center is for your industry. Who are the individuals that are out there sharing information that have that following, and then start taking those steps towards the right people to be connecting with.
Yeah, one of the things we offer in the Trade Hounds community is we help manufacturers to really connect with our influencers. So we've gone out and identified in almost all the important trades, who are the folks who've got hundreds of thousands of followers, and what types of content can we bring together in a package that will really help the manufacturer to predictably scale up their exposure.
Sure.
One of the things we were talking at the STAFTA event about was we'd ask the manufacturer, what one product do you have here that if everybody here knew about it, you'd sell a lot more and make a lot more money.
Sure.
And I think that's the big story that people are struggling to get out is, what should this community know about that they don't know about, and how do we start to crack that problem? Because until people know, commerce won't happen.
Exactly.
So switching our sights to the distributor, what is it that distributors should be doing when it comes to social? Obviously, it's a little bit harder for a distributor in some ways. It's harder. A product, it's very easy to see, okay, this product has certain performance characteristics, it has certain applications, it has certain ways of saving time, saving money, et cetera. For a distributor, the value is not always so easy to calculate. Maybe talk a little bit about social for distribution.
Yeah, exactly. Getting back to what I was saying before, with distributors, it's not about the right product at the right price. It's that specialized knowledge. That's what they should be sharing on social media. Their salespeople, their customer service people should be recording videos, demonstrating products for specific applications.
Or with even customers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When salespeople are going out and meeting with customers, taking video testimonials, sharing that type of information online, so that, again, a peer can listen to another peer about the experience they had working with that distributor. And it's a lot more about more than just the products they have in their inventory. It's about these are the great people that we can work with and how knowledgeable they are, and they can get us there that much quicker.
So at Trade Hounds, one of the things we're doing, I think that helps distributors with their social problem, is we create brand accounts for a distributor. So within the Trade Hounds community, we've got hundreds of thousands of field technicians, and within their geography, we can help to connect them to those folks who are actually using the product on a daily basis and who are the end customers of it. We think about that idea of social. I think in some ways it's more about fostering connections and less about content sometimes for a distributor.
Sure.
Can you talk about how salespeople at distributors struggle to create the social connection outside of their donut runs and backslapping?
Sure. Yeah, I think that what they fail to take advantage of is social selling, because there is a great way of making those initial connections online. Primarily LinkedIn is where most of my clients have the most success. Making those connections online, sharing value, not just trying to sell, not just trying to get appointments, sharing your knowledge, sharing value, commenting on other people, becoming part of that community. It's a great way of building your influence online, and understanding that when you're going online for your business, in a way, it's a personal branding exercise for yourself. What you're trying to do is position yourself as an expert in the industry, providing that value, and there's a reason why people should take your call. They should take your meeting because you're providing them value.
It's very interesting because I think, in a lot of the businesses like you and I are in, it's relatively easy to find and connect with people on LinkedIn. However, I think for a lot of the trades, we just haven't seen the trade adoption of LinkedIn as a platform. So yes, there's some people who do it, but I'd say in a lot of markets, there's less than half. I think one of the things that the distributor salespeople and the trades need to realize is you need to find people where they are. And like in the case of Trade Hounds, we're starting to create distributor brand accounts within there so that the salespeople can actually start building relationships where the contractors and technicians already are.
Sure.
And I think that will hopefully help them to find more of the people they need to connect with and make a difference.
Absolutely.
You said you work quite a bit with manufacturers. I know manufacturers have been some of the early innovators in terms of content creation and trying to create video assets, for example, that can improve their connection to end customers. What are some of the things that they struggle with in terms of getting their content viewed and connecting in the marketplace? Yeah,
I think that the struggle that they have has to do with attracting the right audience, using the right tools. In many cases, the manufacturer's site isn't necessarily the first thing that someone thinks about when they're looking to purchase a product. However, we want them to get to the manufacturer's site because they may be interested in that particular product, but then they'll be able to learn about the wide breadth of product offerings that they have. So I think that in a lot of ways, they're not appropriately approaching search. They're not appropriately approaching social as a way of getting people to their site so they can consume that information. So they create great content, they create great assets, but they struggle with how to get the audience to the site to consume them and take advantage of them.
It's kind of the second trail of tears, I would describe it as, which is we create the content, we invest a lot of money in studio, we're trying to get folks to view our stuff. We go to see the manufacturer's YouTube page and it has 15 views.
Sure.
Or you go to any of their social accounts and they're just not getting the followers. I think it goes back to an important point you made, which is that's not necessarily where they want to start.
Exactly.
And so one of the innovations we have at Trade Hounds is really creating the brand account for a manufacturer and making it social search as opposed to just search. And I think when you start to bring the manufacturer's assets into the community where it's being searched for to begin with, the social community, then social search starts to give some lift to these assets and hopefully bring an end to the trail of tears.
Sure.
Well, Bob, it's great to spend time with you today, and we really appreciate all your insights and wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.